Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Amethyst Goddess from In Alignment Ministries, and today I wanted to cover the new moon in Virgo energy that we'll be experiencing. Some of you are probably already experiencing it this week or a few days prior. So that is going to be at 9:40 p.m. on Thursday, okay? The new moon energy. So let's look into what's currently going on. I will also be answering questions at this time before we really get into the energies. I did have some question submissions. Okay, so I'm pulling them up, and it's still open for anyone who wants to ask any questions at this time. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so I don't know if they're on here or not, but this person wrote in asking a question in regards to love. And any of you are familiar with my readings, I like to set the tone with a prayer first. Whatever resonates with you, you can do it by all means, or if you just want to wait. My prayers is connected to my guides, God, also getting permission to even access the person's information. I do not like to intrude on anyone's energy. I like to get permission first. A lot of times subconsciously, the individuals are already open and ready to receive messages, okay? And all I'm doing is just making sure, just double checking, all right? Okay, and I also want to let you know that this is also a prayer of protection. So if there is anything that is needed to be addressed, that it will come up. If I need to be protected from anything, I always set that intention. So if there is any issues going on that I don't need to intervene or access, then basically that's where I will be, as far as like, give me the alert, spirit, show me. Okay, if my guys say no, don't touch it, or don't access that information, then I don't. Okay, so I'm just pulling up that question now, and again, you have time. And hopefully this person can see that I'm on here now. Okay. So, I'm divorced with 2 kids. I recently met a woman and want to know if she's the right person for me to invest my effort and heart into. Is she my life soulmate? While I was asking, reading that question, Jamie, I'm just going to call out your first name. From what I'm gathering, I heard immediate no. But I'm going to look into the cards and see exactly what's going on with that. Um, and I just heard hot and cold. So I don't know if you know this person, have known this person long enough where you can kind of see where their head is, or, if it's just a fling, or if it's just something just like a cool, short-lived relationship, or if it's a thing where is supposed to be long term. I don't know if you have picked up on their quirks or their personality yet, but they're, from what I'm hearing, is hot cold. So I'm gonna pull out 3 cards for that. And I heard not done yet. So when I hear that message, I immediately thought about your previous connection. Yes, you are divorced. However, that person's energy is still within your energy. So there's like some residual energy that needs to be removed and let go. I'm hearing that you also need to heal, because basically the energy is carrying over like an incomplete cycle, even though things technically or legally have been finalized. Is saying that, you know, you need to do some further healing before really opening yourself up to a new connection. Okay, and I hope that makes sense. So I got instructions, not necessarily 3 cards, but whatever pops out I go with. Okay, so initially I thought 3 cards. Okay. And I just heard controlling spirit. Okay. Give me one more. Okay. So I'm hearing like fast communication. I don't know if you guys like get on the internet and you communicate as long distance, or if it's a thing where this person is long distance and you kind of commute and visit them. Heavy I'm hearing heavy petting. So I don't know if it's a thing where it's right now, it's very sensual, it's very intimate, physically intimate, or there's been some suggestive conversations in regards to that. I'm getting that type of energy versus soulmate connection, in a sense of like a life partner. If anything, if this person, if you continue to connect with them, it will be a lesson, in a sense, like a karmic situation. They have, I'm seeing here, the Emperor card in reverse. Okay, the Emperor card in reverse is an Aries card, but it's also showing that this person in the upright, this is like a father figure, government, established, powerful, all that kind of energy, right? But when it's in the reverse, it's like the person is imbalanced, in a sense where they can be controlling, they can be domineering, like a real controlling, negative energy. Again, I don't know if you've seen this side or you saw hints of it initially and you just kind of like played it off. Oh, it's not that serious. I strongly recommend that you honor the signs, okay? Honor the signs that you see in regards to this individual, because what they're doing with this particular energy is only showing you what you want to see at this given moment, not necessarily what you need to see as far as, okay, or if you say that you really want a relationship, if you say that you are committed, then it should look like a certain way. But they know that, and so they're kind of hiding, how can I say, they're hiding some things that they know could possibly scare you or be negative. And I would rather you see that side and honor that side versus like not going with it. Okay, does that make sense? So I would strongly encourage you to reevaluate. I'm also seeing the moon card, so some things are hidden that you're not seeing right now. And this is the energy as far as it being like really intense, the energy being really intense, a lot of communication, that can be like long distance communication, quick communication, traveling, long distance. This energy right here was where I was getting the karmic energy from, as far as the soulmate energy. And the soulmate energy is not necessarily in a positive light. Okay, I don't want you to think always good and bad, but it's a lower vibration. How about that? The energy from this. like a karmic situation where you will have to learn the lesson of boundaries. I'm hearing self-love, self-worth, okay, how you value yourself. You will have to go through a whole nother cycle. Like after you left that situation of your ex, it will be like a repeated cycle basically. They also could be Capricorn. And this is the Three of Wands. And it kind of came out sideways. And with this, it's like waiting for your ships to come in. But this would be like wanting to, I'm getting this energy of you and this person considering traveling together, considering expanding or deepening the connection. And you're waiting for things to unfold for the connection. And like you said, you're trying to see if it's actually worth it right now. And again, I don't like to tell people what to do. I want you to use your own judgment, but based on what I'm seeing here, this person will be another lesson if you choose to go down that road, okay? So further heal, further connect with your, I'm also hearing inner child, so there may be some childhood trauma issues or things that need to be resolved in regards to your energy before you can, you know, really attract what you really desire. So I strongly encourage you to look into that. And that's pretty much it, okay? Thank you for your question. Thank you for your support. And feel free to basically, you know, do a review if you feel guided. Those reviews really help. I'm just starting out on this platform. So I strongly encourage you like to really ground yourself, heal, do the work in regards to that connection, okay? All right. So now that we covered that, I'm just trying to see if I see any other requests, okay? And I don't. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the current energy, which is the topic that I'm going to be discussing is in regards to the new moon in Virgo, okay? So I'm going to plug in the chat my link if you were to want to ask questions as I go along in this during this reading. All right. Okay. So the title that I was guided to talk about, and I need to type it up right now so I don't forget. If you are of a religious background or a Christian faith, you've heard the terminology "get your house in order." And this is more so connected to the Virgo energy because Virgo is about, first of all, the mental. A lot of mental energy is used, is connected to Mercury, right? And in addition to that energy, they're all about organization, getting things in order. They're also about a certain routine or a pattern that they have. Now, some of us have, or a lot of us have, certain habits that we're working on to remove within our energy, within our system of living, our rituals, where we realize certain habits are no longer serving us, and we're ready to transition out of that. And a lot of us are needing that push. So Uranus retrograde in Taurus energy will help us to let go. It's like that freedom energy to tap into our sacral and our heart space. It's really like a sensual energy from Taurus. It's also to make you feel alive, to feel liberated. So if there has been any restrictions, um, like in your circumstances, within your finances, sometimes we need something to happen that will throw that off. So I'll give you an example. Say, for instance, you've been committed to a job for 10, 15 years and you have not had any growth, um, lateral growth. Like you haven't had any up levels, you haven't had any powerful positions where you can delegate, and be rewarded for your talents or your, you know, your gifts. And basically you've been like setting the intention, like, I'm ready to, you know, up level. I'm ready to level up in life. I'm ready to do more. I deserve more. You know, I see that this particular position is not giving me what I desire and what I feel like I rightfully deserve. I put in the work. My resume is impeccable. I've had mentors. I've had all kinds of certifications, and I'm still not moving forward. Something is wrong. And so you may have applied for certain positions like throughout the company, right? You may have shadowed someone, job shadowed, and this may be someone like actually experiencing this right now. Job shadowing, mentors, all of the above, right? And you've even pursued managerial positions, doing higher ups, all kinds of stuff, going to certain fairs, events, everything you can think of that will reflect that you desire growth. But you're looking in the wrong direction when you were setting those intentions, because you were so focused on the company that you desired to be with, because you had put on in those years of work. You're thinking that it's going to come from that opportunity or from that job, when in actuality there may be a layoff, or there may be a thing where um, something happens where you need to terminate your contract with that company. And you're like, okay, so what am I going to do right now? How is this going to work out for me? Because I was focused solely on this particular income, so why is this happening? But lo and behold, an opportunity shows up for you at a better company, better money, uh, better benefits, better position. Is more ease into your position. It's not as much effort and work that you have to put in to your position. Or you decide to um, have this contract outside of that job and have another income, and you're doing government contracting or something. I don't know, but you end up seeing that that is more fruitful, more beneficial, and less time being put into this particular side job, where you can let that position go. So yeah, you may have put in 10 to 15 years in that particular job, but here comes something far better than what you expected. Okay. And that's how life happens. And that's the energy from what I gather from Uranus retrograde in Taurus, where you'll be able to evaluate the energy that you're embodying and recognize that you deserve more, recognize that your current circumstances, you are beyond that right now. And there's like 7 planets that are in retrograde right now that are impacting us in different ways. There are different influences from energies that are really focused on your need for control and how people are maybe controlling within your connections, whether that's, you know, platonic or romantic. Okay, so I'm gonna just go down the list and just give you an idea of the planets that are in retrograde right now. There's Mercury in Virgo. So again, that's another Virgo Earth element there, where you're gonna be evaluating um, the relationships that you have, the boundaries that you have established, and even in Pluto and Capricorn as well. Pluto and Capricorn, uh, Saturn in Pisces is still going on, Neptune in Pisces, Chiron in Aries, Jupiter in Taurus, Uranus in Taurus. So a lot of it has to do with you evaluating how you've been showing up in the world, evaluating the connections that you have, and, you know, the boundaries that you've established. How have you been taking care of yourself? How have you been taking care of your finances? How have you been taking care of your health? With me, I wasn't feeling well earlier, and I had to recognize and accept that certain things do not agree with my body anymore. So I have to recognize that, accept it, and then do the necessary action to prevent myself from getting sick again. Our body tells us, it gives us signals of what is not in alignment to our body and our energy. So we have to honor those signs, right? So that's even with our life. Our body will tell us, if you have a conversation with someone and you feel certain things going on that are rising up to the surface that may trigger you, it may or may not be that person, right? But it's something within you that you need to deal with once and for all. And once you surrender to that process, once you surrender to acknowledging what you see, because we do get glimpses and get those visuals of and understandings of those different things, but sometimes we don't want to let go, again, because of control. And there may be an imbalance in our solar plexus where we have that fear of letting go because of previous events in our life, especially if they were traumatic, especially if you felt like you were at a disadvantage and you don't want to experience that again. So you have to look at those things, those lessons that keep showing up. Retrograde is all about things that have been repeating, that have been showing up, like attention, alert, alert, we don't like this, or your energy is not conducive for that, or you're not supposed to be in that surrounding area, or you're supposed to move. You need to change your diet, you need to exercise, you need to drink more water, you need to disconnect with certain relationships. I mean, we get all these signals all the time, but we always want to, well, maybe I need to make an adjustment on my end by if I don't say nothing, or I'll eat a little bit of it, or um, I'll do it one more time and then I won't do it again. Those type of instances where we have done certain things and experienced certain things and we keep experiencing them because we are not honoring the signs, okay? And even with how we spend our money, spend our time, where we allocate our resources, all of these retrogrades are coming together to help us so we can be done with this stuff. So come next year, even though time, spirit really doesn't like deal with a lot of how we deal with time as far as scheduling and all of that, but by 2024 a lot of us are cycling out of the past experiences and are experiencing new things. So we have to deal with all this stuff that's coming to the forefront, whether it's unresolved issues with your childhood, whether it's a previous relationship, an ex that we haven't really had closure on, and we're still holding some kind of emotion there or resentment or whatever. Clearing all of that out, getting all that residual energy out so that we can experience some new things. So we're not feeling like we're talking to the same people over and over again, but in different bodies. And that's really because we need to release and let go. This is a new moon in Virgo, and the new moon in Virgo will help us with that energy, will help us be able to sow some seeds and manifest some new cycles. Some of us are really tapping in so that we can connect with the newer connections. We done release all the stuff in full moon in Pisces. That was a super moon, perfect moon to release any stored up energy. So now it's like, okay, we're getting a fresh start. So when you get a fresh start, I hope with your new beginnings in anything that you're doing, whether it's love, a business, your financials, whatever, relocating, that you don't take the mess that you left behind. So, when you go to a new place, hopefully, if you had like damaged goods, damaged property, or whatever, you leave that property where that was. And then when you walk into your new place, you're not bringing and carrying over those old broken down pieces of furniture or belongings, that you trust that you letting go of that stuff from the past will invite new furniture or new belongings that you can start over fresh and have new energy to bring along with you. And some of us have a hard time letting go. It's a human experience. It's not to make you feel guilty or feel ashamed of where you are, because we all go through this, where we have certain little things that some people may not know about us, that we still kind of cleave to or hold on to because of fear, because we're not exactly sure how things will pan out for us. Okay. But I hope with that new cycle, you'll come up with a new strategy of how you will approach the new. So whether it's planning things out, whether it's writing things down, journaling, is not necessarily saying you go full-fledged and take action right now. If you feel guided to, by all means, do it. But in a lot of instances, it's about, with the retrograde energy, it's like reevaluating things. If things come back up to the surface, is for us to acknowledge it. Sometimes we may not even have to do anything with it, but at least acknowledging and accepting it, and then moving forward. With the new cycle, as far as the new moon coming up, I'm seeing that a lot of us are desiring an expansion. So it's okay to, like, say, if I were to get $5,500 a month, how would those resources be allocated? What would I do with that type of funding? Um, what needs to be paid off? What do I need to resolve in my finances to keep me from going in a financial rut? How can I keep the flow of income to come in? What am I doing that is hindering me from allowing that currency to flow? Okay. If there are some things that you can prevent, whether it's a subscription, whether it's not allowing people to borrow from you, whether it's not going out and kicking it every weekend, make some adjustments now. So when those opportunities come for the new, right, that you're not sabotaging yourself in those situations. Does that make sense? And this is channel messages, and I'm just realizing I didn't pull out a card. So let me do that right quick. I'm realizing that I'm just getting the message and I'm just relaying it. So I do want to see what crowning energy wants to communicate with us, even though we have a new moon in Virgo. So that means Mercury will be involved, Mercury retrograde, Uranus in Taurus, and Pluto and Capricorn are prominent energies for this new moon coming up. So you may want to look into that and see how that may affect your energy. Okay, you can see what your rising sign is. You can look into like listen to messages regarding your rising sign. Then also look at what where are these zodiac signs in your houses, in your birth chart. That's how you can do that. But pretty much when I channel messages, it helps sum it all up. So just in case, if you're not a astro proficient person, you can receive the messages and know how to apply them anyway, even if you didn't understand the planets like that. Okay. So a lot of y'all, because I'm getting a connection to like a scripture, and I want to look it up. Something about the storehouse. Something about if there's not meat. What is that? I gotta say it. Bring the full tithe into the storehouse, so that there may be food in my house, and thus put me to the test, says the Lord of hosts. See if I will now open the window of heaven for you and pour down for you an overflowing blessing. Okay. So Malachi 3:10 through 12. From what I'm gathering from this energy, I haven't heard the scripture in a long time. Bring the full tithe into the storehouse so that there may be food in my house. And thus put me to the test, says the Lord of hosts. See if I will not open the windows of heaven for you and pour down for you an overflowing blessing. I will rebuke the locust for you, so that it will not destroy the produce of your soil, and your vine in the field shall not be barren, says the Lord of hosts. Then all nations will count you happy, for you will be a land of delight, says the Lord of hosts. Again, that's Malachi 3:10-12. I find that interesting that that came up. Um, Again, sometimes I get information that is not necessarily for you to feel like you're in church, but it's information that is still relative to what you're currently experiencing. And I just heard, what are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to give up in order for you to have um, that unlimited flow to come in, that unlimited protection, that unlimited guidance? There's no limitations, but only what we limit ourselves in, and only what we perceive that we deserve. That's why I'm working on the words with saying you deserve, or you feel worthy of, even though that is a human construct or belief, or whatever you believe it is, whatsoever you think it is. So, but to I want you to understand that worth and the belief of you deserving anything, you're constructing that. You're putting the framework of that belief system. If someone tells you, oh, you're not going to get only but this amount in your life, or you're not going to have love, or whatever, but ultimately you decide if that is true, and based on your belief, then that it is. So I want you to understand that no matter what you may be going through, the tough times, challenging times, if you feel like, um, you know, the income is not the way you want it, or you're not really in your purpose and you're working towards that, or you're learning to let go of certain things from your past, that you have the final say so as far as what you feel you can have. Don't allow what people say, outside influences, to impact you in a manner to where you are belittling yourself, you're demeaning yourself, you're settling in life because you feel that you're not capable to, or have the capacity to handle whatever you desire. Okay, set the intentions now to be courageous, to have that strength, to have that perseverance, to actually say, you know what, I'm still going to pursue my dreams, even if it feels challenging, because I know this is the path. And sometimes the path is not always easy. There are challenges, there are hiccups that you may experience, that if you compared it to what you were probably living prior to making that change, you would think that maybe you made some mistake in making that change because you're experiencing so many challenges. But I encourage you to not look at it like that. That it may seem like that initially, but once you continue on in your journey, you'll see the ease, you'll see the connections, you'll see the flow of opportunities coming to you. Well, events you may be invited to, or speaking engagements, or healing retreats, or whatever you desire, those opportunities will show up for you. But the mindset has to be right. And again, with Mercury dealing with communication, even education, educate yourself, or restructure your mindset by re-education. Okay, and re-education deals with positive thinking, looking at who you really are, really tripping off like how far you've come, using the past experiences as wisdom, things that you can pass on to other people to help them out. re-educating yourself in a sense of maybe changing some of the words, because I just had heard word format. So changing some of the words that you are speaking over your life, changing maybe some of the music that you listen to that may influence you or impact you, maybe changing some of the foods or the environments that you're in, so that it can renew your mind. Okay. All right. But I'm excited, and I hope you are too. This is really, again, activating. And if you saw my pick a card reading on my IG, just underscore her tribe, you will see sacral and heart activations, like, definitely. And it only makes sense. Oh. Okay. Give me one more, Spirit. Okay. So Aquarius wants to communicate. All right. And Virgo. Okay, Aquarius is about I know, Virgo is about I analyze. Okay. Um, I think that's pretty interesting that Virgo wants to communicate with us. Again, we talked about Mercury being the ruler of Virgo. Remember I had mentioned Saturn and Uranus earlier for the retrogrades. So traditionally, Aquarius is connected to Saturn and Uranus. So Uranus is the current ruler, the modern ruler, right? And traditionally, it is connected to Saturn. So there's some things in your life that needs to be cleansed. You need to be cleansed from. This is the energy I'm getting. So if you notice that energy is coming down, I also mentioned crown chakra activations, but that light is going straight into these energies right here. Usually the solar plexus and sacral is what I intuitively pick up. This particular time, a lot of you all are needing a healing in your solar plexus because there is some fear stored in that area. Oh, and I do see the orange, actually. Yes. Some of us need healing in our womb space, okay? Some of us need healing in that area where basically you may have had trauma there, some form of violation. Um, some of you have had to have hysterectomies or some form of surgeries in that area. Some of you have even experienced some traumas if you had a C-section. I'm seeing. Okay. Um, and there's, even though I'm mentioning the lower chakras, I just heard something in regards to the pineal gland. So some of you really need to look into doing a real cleanse, so that you can receive the messages clearly. Because some of you are receiving messages, but you're not interpreting them correctly. So there's an imbalance there. Some of you are getting messages and overreacting, and some of you are underreacting. So in order for you to do that, you really need to get grounded within your energy, so you're not so hyper aware, or you're kind of on the opposite spectrum, like lackadaisical or like nonchalant, kind of going with the wind on certain things. Like you see BS, but you not really doing what you need to do in order to remove yourself from those type of situations. Okay. Um, but I'm seeing here with Virgo, I'm getting an energy again, sacral. I'm getting the energy of crown chakra, third eye. Okay. and also the throat. Some of you need to communicate a truth, or a truth may be communicated to you in regards to a current relationship. Okay? Some of you are actually evaluating the relationships that you have and realizing that you want more. So if you usually settle in certain situations because of familiarity, you're now like, nah, I don't want to do this anymore. I actually feel like I should be doing the opposite. And someone may very well come to you and feel that way. And that may throw you off, because you probably thought that you had everything under control, under wraps, and like this is messing up the plan that you had going on. So I encourage you to really evaluate, like, inwardly more than anything. Um, but that's pretty much what I have for the energies. It's really a lot of evaluating and a lot of modifying so that you're able to have enough room to receive the new experiences, the new connections. Um, some of us have been warding off like positive vibes, like positive energy, because we're still connected with individuals that are not serving us. And we're supposed to hold ourselves accountable for our own happiness. We're supposed to hold ourselves accountable for our boundaries and, be responsible with our energy. And I'm seeing that some of us are not honoring that. Okay? So I strongly recommend, like, you really like take time to look inward. Because if you're ever familiar with the Virgo card, the Virgo card shows in Rider-Waite the Hermit, right? So the Hermit is like inward, like introspection. Um, you're going through your own awakening experience where you're really looking even at how some unconscious or subconscious habits have kind of hindered you, so they're coming up to the surface on a conscious level so that you can recognize some of the things that you've done that weren't benefiting you, that weren't serving you. Okay? So that's pretty much it. I'm gonna give a little time to see if anyone else have any questions. um I'm getting a lot of clarity from this energy, y'all. And that makes sense as far as the I know from Aquarius. You receive a lot of clarity on your next steps. You'll begin to see a lot of clarity, especially come January. Something significant is supposed to happen for us in January, where you'll see, okay, what I need to do, how I need to do it, how to get there, everything. You'll get the house. Some of you want the house now, but it's not ready for you to receive them right now. You're not ready for it right now. There's some things that need to be shifted. That on a universal scale, there's some things that need to move behind the veil, if that makes sense. We only see in the physical what we want and what we need right now, right? Or even futuristically what we desire, what we need right now. But sometimes we don't see all the elements at play that needs to make that happen, right? So I think it's interesting that that Aquarius energy came out. And right, like I said, I spoke on Uranus and Saturn energy. Let me see something before I get off. Okay, so the last message that I have for y'all, because I was receiving the messages. is clarity, empowerment, elevate, establish, free will, freedom. I'm also hearing vindication. Some of you all have lawsuits that you've been waiting for the decision or waiting for the next steps. You know it's favorable for you, but you don't necessarily know all of um, the ways that it can be beneficial. You just know you're in the right and justice will be served. It was a major cycle for you to experience and go through. Um, and I'm also hearing separation. So if those of you who are going through separation, you have learned a lot of lessons. Um, this may be a little controversial as far as my perspective from what I'm getting on how you should possibly take this situation, especially of those who were once connected with someone and everything has been finalized or in the process of finalized. I'm seeing that in a sense, you don't have to say it to this person, but express gratitude for the lessons of that individual. To not leave that situation bitter, that this situation actually showed just how powerful you are. In normal circumstances, we wouldn't want to experience challenges in order to see or recognize how powerful we are, but unfortunately, that's how we learn. And we recognize how we have given our power away in a lot of instances. And this is to show us that we really didn't need those situations from the jump, but we had to go through some things in order to recognize that and finally accept that. And I'm also hearing bravery, where a lot of you all have been through some experiences that no one knows about. No one knows how at a disadvantage it seemed like you were at, or how much you felt like you lost, or the nights that you've cried. But Spirit is showing that even in those instances, to express gratitude because you were never alone, you made it through, and your experiences can help someone else. Okay? So use it in a sense of a victor, not a victim. Okay? Circumstance. So that's all I have. This is the new moon in Virgo reading. Okay? Our Virgo moon will show up on Thursday, approximately 9:40 Eastern time. All right? So again, Amethyst Goddess checking in with you all. Be well. Take care.